Hey guys, Abner Miranda here. I know that we've all heard the phrase before, all guns are loaded. It's part of the 4 rules that Colonel Cooper came up with many years ago for firearm safety. He needed to come up with, essentially he needed to codify a way to teach firearms. And coming up with those rules, whether he realized it or not, he was basically setting up what is tantamount to the 10 commandments, kind of a thing, the 4 commandments, if you will, of firearm safety. But those commandments were written at a different time. What I'm saying to you is before simunitions had really come into the forefront, before dry fire practice had really come into the forefront, before the understanding that the human body needs to know what it is to look at the human shape through the very sights on the very weapon that you carry for self-defense. And in those times, it is perfectly acceptable to verify that the weapon is empty. I can see daylight through the mag well. I can see into the chamber. I can physically verify that there's nothing in the chamber. I can rack multiple times. I can take all the loaded ammunition and set it far away from myself. I will then take a length of weed whacker cord or yellow rope or whatever, paracord or whatever. You pass it through the mag well, into the chamber and out the muzzle so that the instructor sees a little bit of cord sticking out here and a little bit of cord sticking out here. And then you do that against the weed whacker cord or the paracord. It traps it in place, and then you can holster and you can even tap rack and you can pull the trigger all you want, and you're not going to get a bang because the weapon is not physically able to accept a mag. It's not physically able to load around because that cord precludes the weapon from doing either one of those tasks. And I know that even with this very lengthy explanation, people are going to lose their mind, and some of you are going to go nuts because, oh my goodness gracious, you're muzzling me. I've had people essentially yell at me on YouTube because I'm pointing the gun at the camera. Guys, this is an unloaded firearm. Forget the firearm safety rules at this particular moment in time, okay? Please set them aside. For this block of instruction, it is perfectly appropriate for me to have a real firearm that is rendered safe, but I have taken the steps to make sure that this firearm is rendered safe. Or like my buddy Dave Spalding does, he basically does this, and he teaches entire blocks of instruction with nothing but a frame in his hand. When he's doing a block of instruction and he moves with his frame to do something, and he might sweep a student, well guys, that's why he does this, because he's rendered this gun about as safe as it can get. Now, every once in a while, he will do this. Don't know why. He'll stick a mag back in, probably for the weight of the thing, and students will be like, "Oh, that weapon's loaded." Okay, well, technically, yeah, this is the firearm. This is not. So technically, this firearm is loaded. Please, people, grow up. Man, you people are wearing me out. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Guys, the 4 rules of firearm safety were written for a time where firearms training had to be codified. There had to be something on paper to be able to make sure that the generations coming behind actually had something to draw from and move forward with. That's all they were meant to be, okay? And for those of you who are retards and you're going to try to make the argument, well, that means that the Constitution is up for interpretation. No, it doesn't, because the Constitution are not actually rules of man. The Constitution simply reflects the rules of God Almighty, who is basically saying, this is who you are. These are the rights you have as human beings, as my creations. These are the rights that you have. Those rights are not subject to interpretation. Those rights are not subject to argument, and those rights are not subject to modification, because those rights didn't come from the Constitution. They came from God, and God is the great I am. As always, I thank you for watching. God bless you all. Get those guns out and practice. Have a good one.